There is very little time left before the premiere of the series Loki, which means that it's time to sort everything out and find out what the series and the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole have in store for us. What kind of clock is shown on the poster? What is Owen Wilson hiding? And who will still be the main villain of the series? All this you will learn in the next couple of minutes. To begin with, let's start with a watch that appeared on one of the new posters. It was also shown in the video, and the name of this watch is Miss Minute. This is something similar to the Time Police. Roughly speaking, it is an artificial intelligence that automatically scans time shifts and looks for problems in them. And if there are any, they transmit the information to the Supreme Council for consideration, while at the same time dealing with the escort of the intruder, which is Loki. However, the new trailer excerpts also hinted that the god of deception was originally supposed to be killed for his crimes. But nevertheless, Mr. Mobius, played by Owen Wilson, stood up for him, and so he recruited him to his team, where they will fight everyone who broke the timeline. But let's talk about TVA in general. Initially it seemed that the organization in the series would take a back seat, but with each new video it becomes clear that Marvel wants to introduce the Time Police for a long period. Therefore, for those who still do not understand who we are talking about, we remind you that TVA is an organization for the protection and punishment of those who violated the deadlines. For those who still do not understand who we are talking about, we remind you that TVA is an organization for the protection and punishment of those who violated the timelines. It is also known that TVA works in the zero dimension, so Morbius in the trailer says that time flows differently here. Roughly speaking, they have no time at all. Mr. Alternative runs this whole organization, and he has a whole bunch of small administrators who are clones of him. And in addition to Morbius from the trailer, there's also Mr. Ouroboros, Paradox, and even the Tesseract. So don't be surprised that Owen Wilson will almost certainly play several roles in the series. We can say that the clones are a whole TVA system. There are other clans called chrono monitors, all of them sitting in an almost endless hall and watching their own universe. And if any Avengers accidentally create a timelines, a new chronomonitor automatically appears. Well, if something goes wrong, then TVA will send Minutemen to the battlefield, which, of course, consist only of clones. Moreover, they are sometimes given superpowers through genetic engineering, which are necessary for certain missions. The organization also often collaborates with freelancers, and Loki will certainly play such a role in the series. It's also funny that TVA once collaborated with Hulk Woman, the Fantastic Four, and Kong the Conqueror. And each of these heroes is about to appear in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In fact, there is already one. This girl Gugu Mbatha-Raw, she appeared very often in fresh teasers. Her name is Ravonna. It is known that in the comics she appeared several years earlier than the Time Police, where she was a princess. Moreover, Kong the Conqueror was in love with her, and apparently the love was mutual. But not for long, because Ravonna died, but soon Kong the Conqueror brought her back, and they lived happily. But in the process of all this, they created a lot of time shifts. At the same time, Ravonna learns that Kong the Conqueror was not as kind as it seems, and soon she fell out of love with him. So there's room for theories about a future Loki movie. Ravonna may be an undercover agent of Kong the Conqueror. It may also be that Ravonna got a job in the Time Police to find Kong the Conqueror, or it may be that Ravonna will help the villain take over TVA. There can be a lot of options for reflection. Also, do not forget to leave your guesses about the film in the comments. So I can tell you that watching the heroine of the series is definitely worth it. Suddenly she is one of the main characters of the film. It should also be remembered that TVA has another feature in the film. The police are not only able to restore time shifts and maintain order, but can also destroy worlds that are already on the verge of extinction. In the trailers, we have seen more than once footage of dying planets, and it is quite possible that TVA will send Loki to one of these planets. After all, the TVA organization has a dark past. Initially, it will be created in the distant future, where things will not go very well. The guy known as the last of the remaining will engineer special creatures, whose task is to keep track of time. However, instead of observing time, these guys will start taking over the universes and controlling them. But Thor will fit into all this, where he will defeat all these creatures. But soon there will be a trio of timekeepers, whose statues we have seen in all the trailers. But even these guys will not be without flaws, because in the comics they will decide to kill the Scarlet Witch. Thanks to their knowledge from the future, TVA knew that Wanda is the link of reality, because at one time she had a very strong influence on time shifts. And with this power, in the future, Wanda will do something terrible, after which TVA will hire the Kong of the Conqueror to kill her. But just like in the comics, Kong the Conqueror decided not to kill Wanda, and so things went differently. Instead of killing Wanda, Kong the Conqueror started a massacre with these evil timekeepers. At TVA, a real civil war began, but it quickly ended thanks to Thor. In general, anything can happen in this film, and you need to be prepared for the fact that the TVA will not be such a white and fluffy organization. And thus, the question of who will be the main villain in the film disappears. It will be the evil timekeepers from the future. Especially considering that there are no other candidates for the role of villains, except, of course, the female version of the boat, which was seen by journalists during the filming of the film. At one time, it was even known that there would be a whole army of different Loki, which indirectly shows us the trailer. And as you can see, Loki has the word variant written on his jacket. Then we can assume that since our Loki is an option, then, after all, there must be others somewhere that the TVA have already encountered. There is also a variant of the villains in the form of the Sorceress, Doctor Doom, and even Mephisto himself. But here we will not build our theories because it is a Marvel and anything can happen, as I said earlier. Nevertheless, insiders give out very interesting information about the film. They say that Thor will appear in it, although not in the performance of Chris Hemsworth, but in one of his alternative versions. They also add that Richard Grant will play an old version of Loki. And Tom Hiddleston himself won an Emmy for his incredible work. A source says he watched part of the project as a journalist. And he says that Lucky's President Cooper on the plane from the trailer, they're all different versions of the characters, but Hiddleston plays them just incredible. And the source also claims that Kong the Conqueror will actually appear in the project. But let's hope that Kevin Feige will do a good job on the project, because this series has very high expectations from the audience. It is also known that insiders claim information about the second season of Loki, in which the main villains will be zombies, where Loki will protect one of the realities from them. I can hardly believe it, but nevertheless, zombies will really come to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They will appear in the movie What If? I would like to believe that the events of the series will be connected with the film Doctor Strange 2, which will also concern the multiverse. But we will find out all this very soon. According to director Keith Haring, they were inspired by the films Blade Runner, Mad Men, and even Teletubbies. And I think something really crazy is waiting for us. So guys, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, and put a like. Soon you will see a lot of new videos on this channel. See you soon.